and all my dear residents. I am Dr. Akash Parihar. I will be giving my paper presentation on heteronormative silence on sexuality. Before the start of 19th century, LGBTQ community was an integrated part of our society. Evidence can be gathered from a whole chapter dedicated on homosexuality in Kama Sutra to the erotic art display of Khajuraho temple from Shrikhandi from Mahabharata. But as we entered the second half of 19th century, a race started for medicalization and pathologization of non-normative sexuality and gender expression. Ibbings and Kraft described homosexuality as a collection of terrible diseases. It was 1970 when America was witnessing equality and dignity for all civil rights movement, which was accompanied by a gay liberation movement, which led to final 1973 APA declassification of homosexuality. But what do we understand by these terms? Heteronormativity. Heteronormativity is a world view which supports and accepts only heterosexuality as a normal and accepted part of society. All other rest kind of sexualities are thus considered non-normative sexuality. This world chart shows how different countries deal with sexuality minorities with respect to their laws. Countries in blue provide a constitutional protection against all kind of discrimination and abuse to sexual minority, but still there are many countries which provide capital punishment to rigorous imprisonment in response to sexual minorities status. India provides no criminalization and no protection policy, which leaves a large chunk of our society, that is 45.4 million people, vulnerable to violence and exploitation. Recent times have been very difficult for the sexual minority in our country, from media shaming to misattendment of detainees to denial for treatment, thus justifying the title Heteronormative Silence on Sexuality. The present study attempts how different sexual minorities are affected by their initial awareness, their sexual orientation and disclosure, compatibility with one's own sexual minority status, victimization, self-harming behavior and societal distress. This is a cross-sectional, survey-based, self-reporting, anonymous online questionnaire. Sampling method is purposive and snowball sampling. After taking a proper consent from the ethical committee, hyperlinks and flash banners were generated, which were distributed across websites, forums, and social media pages related to the sexual minority and their issues. As the participant clicked on the link, they were redirected to the Google Forms, which was used by us for the collection of data. A total of 118 participants participated in our study with age ranging from 18 to 73 years of age with a mean of 30.5 years. People above 50 years of age were underrepresented, so as were female, which can be explained by the fact that they have less access to internet. When data about sexual orientation and gender identity were studied together, it was found that 20% of the females respondents were bisexual as compared to only 7% which were bisexual, which led to our conclusion that bisexuality is more prevalent among females. When participants were asked at what age they first became aware of their LGBT identity, the average came out to be 14.34 years. And a majority, 96% of the participants were out about their sexuality to at least 1%, most of them choosing friends, which is often described as a surrogate family during difficult times. This chart shows how different sexual minorities are comfortable with their sexual orientation. As evident, a large chunk of bisexual individuals show a greater level of discomfort and a desire to change. A person with sexual minority status can be met with extreme nature of homophobia and transphobia in society, leading to the victimization. Most common type of victimization is verbal abuse. Contrary to the popular belief, females are more prone to victimization as compared to males. Participants were also asked about their self-harming behavior. A 26.7% of the participants had self-harm at least once in their lifetime, which is much greater than the national average, which is 4 to 23%, and females were twice as likely to self-harm as compared to males. And the average age of onset of self-harming activity came out to be 15.5 years, and the bisexual and still questioning were most susceptible to the self-harming behavior. As evident, self-harming behavior is much greater in sexual minorities, so is sexuality. A total of 17.2% of the participants had some level of suicidality, which is much higher than the national average of 5.1%. and females were more prone to suicidality as compared to males, contrary to the popular belief, and the average age of first suicide attempt came out to be 24.2 years. Thus concluding that LGBT identity is a potential risk factor for victimization, self-harming behavior and suicidality. But the question still remains the same. Where we need to intervene, how to intervene, when to intervene. For answering this question, we must go through all the results which we have obtained in our study. First, the average age at which the participant first became aware of their sexual identity was 14.34 years, which also coincides with the self-harming behavior that in 15.5 years. This age group corresponds to the school-going children. So school is the place for intervention and sexuality awareness program, new health policies and screening for self-harming behavior and suicidality should be started. And people with the average age of first suicide attempt 24.2 years, it can be concluded that this age group correspond to the college level. So at every college, support services for LGBT, for hate crime, sexual assault and abuse should be established, and screening for self-harming behavior and suicidality should be a regular activity at college level. Particularly LGBT youth, especially bisexual and still questioning individuals, are highly vulnerable to the distress, self-harming behavior and suicidal behavior. So recommendation of good practice guidelines in caring of high-risk individuals should be made compulsory for the all health professionals. Limitations on our survey, online survey was self-identified, though, so it was limited to only those who have internet access. Young people who have not yet labeled their sexual identity are also not included. It is only of 118 participants, so small sample size, and there is over reliance on network of peers, which is causing a sampling bias. And survey also underrepresents female and people above 50 years of age. Thank you.